So we begin episode 7 of The Smart Money Woman with the aftermath of the breakup of Zuri and Shola, with every friend dropping their hot take and Zuri reading out some of her lines like a theater art student on their first stage play.
You know what, sometimes I just swear you're unbelievable.
I mean, what was that? Anyway, after begging her boyfriend via text, she decisively tells Sheni to stop making advances at her and is somehow surprised later when he doesn't show up for an important meeting to seal the deal because he decided to call it off. Adesua decides to file for divorce from her husband, and because I have been served court papers before, I noticed the process server doesn't actually see him. He just gives the papers to the first person who opened the door instead of asking to see the husband, verifying he lives there, and actually handing him the papers personally. It's a court process. You don't just hand it to anybody that you see. I don't know, just a small point for the writers to know next time. Sometime later, Zuri receives a call from her mentor and a Mrs. Bafo Williams, and they have this somewhat gibberish conversation because some of the responses and the answers don't quite match.
Dad pulled his support?
Who, Shani? No, but I have an idea why.
Did he tell you why? Is only written on the subtitle, but it is cut from the actual video. I think they got the editing wrong. Someone was too lazy to actually just rearrange the clips. What are you talking so about? The woman just said she was sorry for you. Anyway, she gets Zuri a one-on-one meeting with Chinese father so she can pitch her ideas directly to the man. And upon finally meeting him, she does so successfully and the man agrees to the housing deal. Now, Shani happens on them while discussing, and I find it remarkable that aside wearing clothes that he can barely move his arms in, the young man seems to completely lack peripheral vision. Because even though the staircase is right beside the meeting area, Shani pointedly walks down the stairs without looking to his side, walks around the back of Zuri's chair, and only realizes who she is when he's finally face to face with her. Well played, director of photography. In her new workplace, Lara takes the bull by the horn by using her connections to advise on how they could move forward on some oil and gas deal. She then brings it to this her toaster stroke sugar daddy who has not received any sugar yet, impressing him with her thought process so much that he goes,
Smart woman.
and she replies,
Smart money woman.
and I just nearly had high blood pressure because of the cheesiness and the cringe of that exchange. Smart woman, smart money woman. Let's clap for you, Lara. You have won because you used the name of the show in the show. Some journalists who had accused Zuri's boyfriend of running a scam retracts the article, and the news reports her as being a disgraced journalist. I'm not exactly sure why the writer thinks that a retracted article is a mark of disgrace for a journalist, but that is certainly not true. Newspapers and reporters and editors retract articles all the damn time, and oh yeah, and surprise, surprise, we find out that the article was sponsored by Shola's friend Tobi Bakre out of jealousy. In general, I don't talk about the men in this show because their storylines are quite boring and sometimes nonsensical. Like a journalist accused your film fund of being a scam and you began to fidget up and down. I don't know. We don't even know how the journalist arrived at the conclusion. We have no detail. Did Shola use the fund to buy a house in Miami or what? How is it a scam? We don't know. They are actual investors. So what is she talking about? We have no sense of urgency about that case, and we generally forget that story actually exists unless someone brings it up on the screen. Yeah, the men here are just basically side characters. We later arrive at some art exhibition hosted by Shola for some investors, where he discusses business with Tammy for a minute, and then we see his new girlfriend or something, who looks and acts like background noise, just weaving in and out of his arms like a spirit, while Shola just maintains his signature facial expression that looks like he has stomach ache or someone kicked him in the balls before the cameras began rolling. Tammy confronts him about the broken relationship with her friend Zuri, but he doesn't rise to her bait. There's this funny extra at this exhibition who appears to be walking out of a wall, studiously avoiding the camera and moving out of frame in the most self-conscious way possible. Another weird bit of acting ensues here.
So I saw some pieces from some young and upcoming African artists in the back. Do you want to see that?
Sure. Huh? You don't.
Madam, what are you saying really to? He has not even finished the statement. She even says, sure, before he has even finished the question. Like, what's the hurry? I got the feeling that she was very self-conscious in this scene. And I'm not sure why, since she has acted all right throughout the rest of the series. Tammy calls Lara to gist her about what's happening. And it appears Lara is living in another universe, since she's answering the call in what appears to be late afternoon, while every other event, including the art show and what will happen later, is all happening at night. Also, I think Tammy is my favorite actress in this thing because she gets a lot of quality screen time and her story is the most fleshed out. And I also really like her acting, especially at this event. The audio people also somehow forgot to make Lara's voice sound like it was coming out of a phone, so it just seemed like a voiceover.
She's stronger than you think. She can definitely handle it. So I think you should definitely...
You will come to realize that these last two episodes, episodes 7 and 8, were done very lazily. I don't really know how to explain it, but if you know anything about like video editing or something like, I can just see all the signs of laziness all over it. Now, all this stuff is happening at night. So we move to meet Zuri at home, where she's worried that one of her apartments that was sublet was burning or something. But it turns out that it was just the smell of weed coming out of it. And I tell you, the acting here was certainly worthy of note because I didn't understand what her face was trying to convey.
Okay. Is that what that smell is?
I watched this scene maybe 5 times and I found it funny every time. Like, what was that? Well, in general, there's a lot to unpack here, but basically, it turns out Zuri rented 3 apartments from her landlord and has been subletting the other 2. Now, this is all uncovered after the landlord arrives because of the weed smell complaints from other tenants. He actually drags her to the police station along with all the weed smoking guests in that apartment, but Shola comes later to the rescue and gets everyone released. A few days later, Adeswa's maid gets into debt because of a failed Ponzi scheme she got herself involved in, and Adeswa bails her out. Then we have a small advert placement for something called Bankly, while Adeswa explains investments and compound interest. And I only mentioned this whole section because I liked how simply she puts the concept of compound interest.
Again, interest. Now say the money where you put inside, you go to make money. Then the money where they put on top, that one too go to make money.
Okay, ma.
Well played. Tammy's father is super proud of her now that she's appearing on TV and talking about her fashion business and capital. And he promises to invest in her, though I doubt he will live long enough to do so if he keeps drinking orange juice in open bottles from the cupboard. Shola sets up an investors event for Tammy. So she has a bunch of investors come and look at her pieces. So it's like, so there are models and stuff wearing the clothes and all. And something curious with the filmmaking here happens. So we have Adesua being all moody in the toilet and sending messages to the girls on the group chat. And we can see that the messages take 2 days to happen, even though she's just there in the toilet. So we have like Monday to Wednesday on the message app. I don't know. Why would you overlook something so simple? Like you put Monday there. Why did you write Wednesday? Why did you write Wednesday in the middle of the conversation? Did nobody watch this thing? Anyway, so she gets moody for some reason. I don't know. During the event, there is some scuffle, a bit of scuffle between Tammy and the social media influencer that should have been streaming the event live. Now, as it happens, the influencer girl refuses to post on. She gets her full payment of 600K, and Tammy is confused because they signed the contract that she was going to get her balance at the end. The whole thing was just weird. We have Bobby, played by Timini, who seems to be attempting to date Tammy, but also basically cheating on her with the influencer girl. Now, in the very first scene of episode 7, we have where they were trying to calm Zuri down after the breakup. We find that someone actually sent Tammy a video of Bobby and this other girl, but it seems like Tammy doesn't seem to remember. I don't know. I was expecting it to be like a whole thing at this event, but she just keeps relating with him as if nothing happened, or like she doesn't remember. I don't know. It's just weird that it doesn't come up because it looked important at the beginning when she saw the video. Or did they just forget? Now, Adesua has been trying to get her groove back, and there's this funny scene where she asks a guy what he's looking for in a relationship, and he says,
A woman that can cook.
Not even a woman, a human. And then there's the OnlyFans guy.
Modeling do you do? Runway, billboard?
OnlyFans for $20. You get to see what I look like. Shirtless.
Modern.
Who she weirdly seems to be considering, because I don't know why she's looking like that. Like, why is the camera lingering on her face? Like, what? The episode ends with Zuri trying to gaslight Shola into taking her back, but my guy shuts that down like very fast. Before I close, I just remembered something. I have never really mentioned Tobi Bakre's storyline. He is a friend of Shola's, who is also sleeping with the wife of another friend of Shola's. So they are always getting it on anytime they meet outside, and even sometimes even privately in hotels or something. He also happens to be the one who sold the fake news to the blogger who accused Shola of being a scam. So at the end of this, a lot of things happen. At the end of this episode, a lot of things happen at the same time. We discover, Shola discovers that Tobi Bakre was responsible for the bad press, and then the wife that Tobi Bakre has been getting it on with, the husband of that woman also discovers the cheating, and I don't know, sends the news to bloggers or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but the news comes out and everybody is, hysterical. Shola and Tobi Bakre get into a fight. Why the woman's husband put her boxes at the door for her when she comes home. I found it funny that all her clothes could just fit into this one small box and the other hand luggage. But then she actually barely wears anything in this series, so maybe it's not so hard to believe. This part was a lazy storyline, perhaps, maybe just to add some spice to the whole thing, but I never found it compelling, which was why I have never mentioned it in any of the previous reviews. But I just mention it now because it seems a little significant, and I don't know if it might show up, maybe if something in reference to it might show up in the last 2 episodes that are coming out next week. So I just wanted to highlight it here now. So yeah, that's basically it. There is something about these last 2 episodes. There's something off about them. It's just like they were given to a different editor or a different audio engineer. The audio sounds muffled, like there was a cloth or something over the microphone when everyone was talking. I don't know how to explain it, but if you watch the previous episode and this one, the difference was quite stark for me the moment I played episode 7. The color grading in this final episode is just a bit much. The whites and the highlights are overblown, while the reds are so saturated and intense. So whenever a character is standing in front of a window or wearing white or something, it always just looks unnaturally bright. Then whenever they are wearing lipsticks or a red article of clothing, it always just seems so intensely red, like no in between. It was a bit weird, and it reminded me very strongly of Eniola's All of Us, his high school YouTube series. I have a review of those on my channel. You can check it out. If you are still here, I would like for you to subscribe, like, leave a comment. It helps YouTube recommend my channel to other people, increases the reach, costs you nothing. Thanks. I've done some reviews covering episodes 1 through 6 of the channel. You can just check them out. Hopefully they show up as recommended videos by the end of this one. My next review is covering something that, you know what, just wait for it. I hope I get to it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.